Hello, my loves. How are you? Happy Eclipse Day. In yesterday's reading message, we hit a point in the energies where the message came through that we're moving into a very new type of energy. And it's been coming through quite deeply here on this channel. And I know that I've seen it out and about that many of these sacred union or reunion energies are really starting to ramp up. And I want to talk about that really quick because when I say reunion, this came in because yes, we're moving into the true sacred union, but many of you, if not all of you, have experienced a form of union energies in your initiation, your Helios, Gamos, your soul merge, which ultimately catapulted you into your initiation and your transformation. And so as you work that initiation, you prepare for the reunion of the true essence within yourself and then within your counterpart connection. And so we are really moving into a time where you can really feel the reunion energies ramping up. And it feels important to dive a bit deeper into some of these new energies that are coming with it. Because you also have to remember, although at a soul level, that pure, true core soul essence and frequency has always been there. We haven't had that fully embodied and established on our planet in quite some time. And then you add to that the fact that we have been evolving and learning and going through so many things for centuries and eons and all of that. So there is also an energetic shift at the core of who we were back to those original energies before the core separation moved. Okay. We've learned and grown a lot since then. So there is the energies of reunion, but there's also a whole new energetic template that we are embodying and anchoring, stabilizing. Okay. So, what I feel guided to do is actually get some messages around that. But really quick before I dive into that, something that I noticed in the comments that I feel is very important to address because I myself have experienced this over the last months is energies of feeling like a lot of the feminines have been talking about feeling like they're going back or reliving or experiencing emotions or thoughts or memories back from when they had the separation in this life or when they moved into their dark night of the soul time and sort of processing those. And I wanted to share some of the insights that I received, and then hopefully that will support you on some level. As always, take what resonates for you. But this was what I was shown that a lot of it, what's happening is that now we've processed so much, we can actually go back to when things kind of separated and froze off in the physical, and we can drop back into those places, thaw it out, open back up to the connection, clear out any of the defense mechanisms or survival mechanisms, and allow the emotions or the experiences or memories to process. But there's also another part that is happening. Well, it's allowing you to embody who you are now and the results of who you are now into that old pocket that was too intense to process all at once. And a lot of us just had to freeze it off so we could process it in pockets, which is why I talk about the pockets, which was what created the separation in the first place. It was just too much to do in one sitting. Okay. But then what's also happening is you're finding it's a shared space between you and your counterpart because oftentimes, if not all of the times, you were actually still in a soul merge. We know the souls are always merged at the higher levels, but this was a very physical merge and felt very physically because you were often together or in connection in the physical world. And so it was more physical and emotional in a different way than just being merged up in the higher dimensions. which was why it was so intense and why it took space, because we in our physical human bodies didn't necessarily have the tools to process that at that time. So as it's opening back up, as in a majority of cases, the feminines are now strong and stable enough to open back up to that. I know masculines are working in this as well. But as she's strong and stable enough to handle that, what it's doing is thawing it out where the shared space was. And it's actually also allowing the masculine side of the connection to process it in a whole new way. Because remember, he was holding space as the feminine processed. And so now he has to go through his deeper levels of transformation and actually allowing that initiation to run deeper through his system. I spoke about this back last December in my Divine Feminine Surrender video, that as the feminine stabilizes and she's clearing out her karmic energies and codependency, and she's strong and stable enough, and she's processed out a lot of her triggers, that signals to the masculine he can now process out his karmic codependent energies and triggers. And during this process, it does reach a point where they're in the shared space, which it can be intense and have the illusion that you're going backwards, but what's happening is you're actually getting to the core of the separation between you, and you this is the opportunity to drop in the results of who you are now, everything that you've learned, all the strength that you have built, all the stability and neutrality that you have learned, the places and spaces where you can drop in and experience the emotions and the intensity without running, without walling, without freezing, allowing yourself now to process and have those experiences. And you will notice the differences in how much you have grown. And in many cases, you will notice the difference in the quality and the energy of your connection. And even if you're not in physical world communication, you will oftentimes notice that there is a different level of stability within your connection. You will feel that it's calmer. Even if there's the emotions, you will notice it's not so wobbly, it's not so chaotic. You will feel a different level of strength and stability within you and within the connection. Yes, there may be emotions, there may be memories, there may be even telepathic conversations. This is all a part of the process. It doesn't mean you went backwards. It doesn't mean you didn't do what you needed to do. It means you're strong enough and ready enough to process these energies in the energetics before it lands in the physical more deeply, which is actually very powerful because we can process and integrate and calibrate a lot more in the energetics so that when it comes into the physical, it's much cleaner, it's much more pure, it's much more easy to communicate in the physical world. Because, as you know, in the energetics at a soul level, that is just a lot clearer sometimes than what our human self always has the capacity to articulate. And so, this recalibration process to prepare for reunion is actually a very important, potent, and powerful opportunity to prepare, to strengthen, and to stabilize into being ready to meet back up in the physical world. Okay, I hope this was helpful. If this is something that you want support with for your personal experience, I would absolutely, definitely connect with you in a one-on-one. I'll drop that in the pinned comment, but we'll also just see what unfolds through this process. All right, loves. So I think I just want to kind of summarize really quickly when those come up, drop those triggers, those emotions, set the intention to allow the old charge of the emotions that's no longer necessary to dissolve and unravel. Allow yourself to drop in the results of everything that you are now. Bring your own love and your own essence into that place. Breathe into where you feel the emotions. Breathe it into your body. Envision yourself, work with your earth star, ground in the results into your body, into the earth, into your connection with the earth. Let those stabilize, okay? And just hold that space and grace for yourself that you've come this far, okay? It's actually a testament to how much you have evolved. And this is something, it's a different perspective than what we grew up learning, right? We were taught like you deal with it and then you move on. Okay. But the truth is that all of that energy is still in the subconscious fields. So as we learn how to stabilize within ourselves and strengthen, and we have the capacity to face our triggers without running, walling, freezing, etc., when we can face those, neutralize them, and now not only is that not running or freezing in the background, you've actually retrieved that part of your essence, and you have more and more and more space for who you actually are. And this touches back in with actually being in your true authentic frequency, which will act like that beacon of light for whatever is meant for you. Okay. So when these things come up, it's actually an opportunity for you to retrieve your essence and dissolve whatever wasn't you in the first place. Okay. So let's see what else is going on with these new beginnings. Okay. I normally use my mystical shaman on Patreon, but I was called to pull it out here for you guys today on YouTube. And I'm open if there's more that wants to come on Patreon, we'll do a part two, but let's just see what opens up here for you today. We're talking about this moving into this new energy. Oh, wow. Okay. Beautiful. Wow. Okay. I love it. So we have this first card, the staff, and the energies that are coming through with this for me are twofold. It's actually immediately bringing me to the strength and the stability energy of really aligning with our core and that internal union, the strength and the stability. But it's also making me think of our nervous system and the importance of allowing ourselves to retrain our nervous systems to be able to experience the emotions and the discomfort of a trigger, and at the same time understanding that you're safe, that you're not in those same energies. And what is happening is you're actually unraveling the trauma from your nervous system at the roots. It's like you can sort of envision where you feel that fear or that sadness or that discomfort in your nervous system, and allow yourself to breathe in soothing energy. And as you're breathing in that divine, loving, true essence of who you are, it brings that energy into your system. And then as you relax, it allows the trauma energies to unravel. Okay, that felt like important to bring that in. It's also bringing me to, again, the stability, but also where we can set that intention to unravel any residuals of rigidity, any defense mechanisms that are ready to also relax so that we can move into these deeper states of internal union and preparing for the sacred reunion energies. Now, also interestingly, this next card that came out was the Sweat Lodge. And when I saw this energy, like as he's walking into the sweat lodge, there's so much imagery and messages that are coming through with this one. It's like he's walking in almost, yes, it's like a portal, the next level into the new energies. But it also feels like it's like the eye of the beholder, like really walking into the eye of everything to the centripetal point. And it also feels like a concentration of this energy, this internal strength within the core being so strong within our being, within our own union, within our own internal energies, that we are ready to walk through the eye of the needle into the new energies. Okay. And It is something like on a physical, energetic level, as a being, as a human being, as a sovereign being. This is like almost a portion where it's just a very personal thing that you enter into this moment of void and sort of you're being birthed into the new energies. Okay. It feels like some of you may have already experienced this or be in the process of experiencing it now, and it wanted to come through. And it's almost like as you're walking through this, all of those old memories, all of those old things that are left over in your nervous system, in your chakra system, in the shared space between you and your counterpart where you were merged and froze off, as it's thawing, it's like you're sort of walking through this birth canal and this eye of the needle, and all of that is coming up to clear out so that you can come out the other side fresh and clean and be ready for this new beginning. And what feels important about this is, regardless of what happened in your connection in the past, if you are true twin flames and divine counterparts, it all happened, right, for you to work through as counterparts. It was part of your mission to process this information and come out the other side into the grace of actually learning who you are now as an individual. Who are you actually at a true core soul level? Who is your counterpart at a true core soul level? And how much of the past was just the conditioning and programming that you were born into because you agreed to come to transmute it? And can you hold the space and grace for yourself and your counterpart to understand that you chose that so that you could transmute it for yourselves and your planet? And can you come out the other side of this eye of the needle in a very neutral state and allow yourself to get to know yourself and one another in a whole new way, in your true core soul essence? Okay. And this feels to me like it's important to acknowledge this process. And every now and again, I get someone in the comments saying, I don't want it. Okay. If you don't want it, then let it go. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to the people who are understanding their purpose, who understand that they have a counterpart connection that they feel called to align with. If you do not feel that, this is not necessarily for you, my loves. So just feel free to take parts of it that might help you as an individual and leave the rest, okay? But it feels important that we're allowing ourselves to align with what is meant for us, what we had at that true core soul purpose. And it feels very much like, sort of look at phase one of our process was really being on this planet and understanding the dynamics and the energies, like being in the middle of it, almost like a undercover cop, right? Like we were undercover star seeds, and we're coming out the other side, no longer having to be undercover, but taking all of the information that we learned so that we could transmute through it. And now we're helping to create the pathway for ourselves and others into the new energies. It's sort of also becoming like a bridge into the new. Okay. I have something I want to share really quick. Yesterday, I was asked if I thought that money was going to be relevant in the new energy. And I think what's really important and what I've come to understand is we're still living on this planet, and there's still systems and experiences that are part of participating in it, right? Like we still have to live, we still have to feed ourselves, we still have to pay bills because that's what's present on our planet. But we still have completely the opportunity to move into the new energies around money and around the energetics of money. And so it's less important if we have money in the new energy. What's more important is our relationship to it. And what is happening is in the new energy, as we cross this threshold, we're still available in this world. We're still interacting in this world. This is what we're meant to do. This is the embodiment of our ascension energies while still being on this planet. And so we can still interact with money and whatever exchange is present, but it's about releasing the programming and the conditioning around it. And actually, this becomes more important than if we have money or not. Money in its form will unravel or change as we transmute the conditioning around it. But in the meantime, our job is to be okay with receiving and in providing and exchanging money as a part of being here in the beauty of what we can do as ascension advocates, as those of us dropping into unity consciousness, is actually come into union with the frequency of money as it was truly intended, which is simply an energetic exchange and unraveling the trauma or the wounds around money and the material world that actually blocked us from receiving the love. Okay. This is something I've worked deeply on in my system. So if you guys want more with that, let me know because it's really most important that we become comfortable with the energetic exchange. Okay. And less important what form that is in. Okay. So it does feel to me that money will be around for a bit, but it's still an opportunity to evolve it into the new energies. And I'm seeing now as I'm saying this why this topic is coming up because it's often been such a huge barrier between the masculine and feminines on our planet. And it's been sort of this membrane that humanity focused on, thinking that it was the be all end all. And so a lot of us became frustrated with that and sort of wanted to reject money because we knew that there was more to that. But in all actuality, there's nothing wrong with the material world and physical comforts. So it's not really about getting rid of that or rejecting it. It's about allowing ourselves to evolve into all of who we are as spiritual, emotional, beautiful, gorgeous beings. And as you move into your true essence and authenticity and multidimensional energies, your whole relationship with money in the material world shifts. Okay. Many of us felt suffocated by those limitations in the past. But as we expand into who we are, we can just use it for what it actually is, which is simply a tool that does not define us or our success, but it is something that we can utilize as a tool in this physical world to care for ourselves. Okay. So I hope that helps. And this is something that is a beautiful topic to resolve and to just become comfortable with money in the material world in a way that feels aligned for your heart and your spirit. Okay, my loves, which brings me into the sun and the flow. They came out together. And this is so gorgeous because we know that the sun essences come through as the divine masculine, sacred masculine energies. And the flow energy is often seen as the feminine energies. And as you just move into this flow is like this moon and this water, and the sun is like the fire and the intensity, and balancing these energies within, right? Because if you have too much fire, it burns up all of the water. But if you have too much water, it puts out the fire. And this is the importance and a perfect example from yesterday's message of why internally we have to balance the energies. Even if you take out the masculine and feminine principles from a physical standpoint, in that we're talking about gender or attributes, even in our physical bodies, if you have not enough water in your body, you get dehydrated and you don't feel well, right? But at the same time, if you do not have enough fire or energy or sunshine that your body gets access to, you will also wither. Okay. Things will become out of balance. And so ultimately, this is about balancing all of the elements, the air, the fire, the water, the earth, the feminine, the masculine, the earth, and the higher self, the human and the higher self, right? We have all of these parts of us that it's really about it coming into homeostasis, okay? And when we align with the energy of homeostasis, we're not trying to control it too far in any direction. We're simply asking and aligning for whatever is going to be in harmony with where we are in this moment, because you're always growing and you're always evolving. And so when you can look at yourself, your physical, emotional, and spiritual bodies in this light, when you can hold yourself in compassion for the ascension that you are embodying, and watch and look at how much you have evolved over these years and how much you have changed. When you can let go of your judgment and expectation of how that looks for another, it becomes so much easier to go through the eye of this needle to meet your counterpart on the other side in compassion, in an openness to see who he or she is now. Okay, my loves, this feels very, very important. And as you hold the space and the grace for your own transformation, it becomes easy to have compassion for others experiencing theirs. And we're going to leave this here. And I'm not sure, I may go on Patreon and do a deeper energy of this today. And if I do, I will drop it in the community. And as always, it'll be Patreon in the pinned comment. So you can check that out if you would like to. If it's there, I will let you know. And I hope you have an absolutely beautiful eclipse day. And I send you so much love and support through this transformational ascension embodiment process as we prepare for deeper states of inner union and reunion in new ways. Lots of love. Have a beautiful day.